Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Is that opera just as much fun as the visual as it is the music, so it's weird to have one without the other?
I think we're talking about opera. Let's get into this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. Hi everyone, my name is Sid Part 2. Actually, my name is Ian. I just go by this alias on the interwebs. I'm joined today by Mr. Steve Baxi.
Hello.
And one Deadpoolzilla.
Hey, all you cool cats. I don't give a fuck about any of you.
Damn, that's like really harsh. I feel like you should apologize to people.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I give some fucks about you. There.
He gives the minimum number of fucks.
He gives the ethically considerate amount of fucks after that, and who gives a shit?
Actually, it's more like I give metaphysical fucks.
On some conceptual level, he gives some fucks.
Yeah, exactly. How many fucks he gives, can they or can they not fit on the head of a pin, Steve?
Define a pin.
Yeah, exactly. But, philosophical musings aside, we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about something much more important to the development of humanity, and that is a movie in which giant monsters come out of the oceans and attack American giant robots that fight them and blow them up, and yeah. We're here
Let's
to
not
talk
forget about the marvelous notions of people giving big dramatic speeches about big dramatic ideas that people are confronted with when fighting big dramatic monsters with big dramatic robots. Drama.
And big dramatic CGI fights.
Yeah, it's just like... It's just one of these movies that it comes around once in a generation, right? And then it's so annoying when it has like these shitty imitators that try to ape what it's doing that's brilliant. Like, I'd say that this movie that we're talking about today is like, it goes, this, Dark Knight, Citizen Kane,
Godfather.
Yeah, Godfather, definitely.
North by Northwest.
Yep, but
yeah.
this right up at the top.
Yeah, I think I'd switch maybe Godfather and Citizen Kane, but this is on top.
Yeah, I gotcha. You would, Steve. But I don't know, man. This one's just like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone be able to give an objectively real problem with this film, right?
I was so pissed off when Godzilla 2014 came out and everyone's like, it's so much better than this. I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking?
Right? It's bullshit, man. And then, like,
this is a legitimate piece of art. Come on now.
Like, seriously, you got some scenes with of course I can't remember the names, but you got some scenes with like the male lead and the female lead that just really, really, get at me. This movie isn't shy about going to some places that I feel like other big blockbusters wouldn't do. I mean, yeah, they still get the happy ending and everything, but there's still,
but they've earned it by the end because there's just so much pathos to where they were from the beginning and the middle.
Yeah.
And there's so much pain for us to sit through, right?
Yeah, like, dude, I was really worried this relationship wouldn't work out.
I was emotionally destroyed by the film, honestly.
Yeah, like, that one scene with the older leader guy and like he's being threatened and like he almost dies, but he doesn't blink in the face of danger. He's like staring down. I think that's like a really great metaphor for just like life, man.
I mean, I think more generally, though, the notion of giant monsters coming out of the sea to attack us, and we fight them with giant robots is the perfect, like, metaphor for the symbol of life and, like, mechanization and shit, and how, like, industrialization gave us our identity.
Yeah, totally. And again, you talked about Godzilla 2014 being compared to this film, and yeah, this movie wipes its ass with Godzilla 2014, but then there's that other fucking rip-off film that came out that totally, like, aped the shit out of it. It's so funny because they took the subtitle of this movie and made it their own movie, quote-unquote, and acted like it's so fucking distinguished and better, and it's just not.
Those cheaters. They took the blueprint from this.
Yeah. Fuck Pacific Rim, man. That piece of garbage can go die in a watery grave.
What
right?
kind of fucking name is Raleigh?
Exactly. And like
Idris Elba was miscast.
Yeah, and it takes away from like the true American hero-ness of this film, Atlantic Rim, when they try to make it all fucking globetrottery SJW bullshit, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows the only coast that matters to the United States is the Atlantic.
Right?
Yeah. Not my giant robot.
Yeah.
Hashtag-
Yeah.
Hashtag not
not my gyro. Then they use this fucking like foreign words, kaiju and Geiger or whatever. Fuck that noise.
They pronounce it with a G, but they spell it with a J. Those anarchic assholes.
Seriously, like, God, fucking liberal media elites just fucking jerking off to their global progressivism.
And did one of the characters have to be a female Asian PC culture and all that?
Yeah, I mean, really, this movie gives us a female character, and she actually is important to the plot and matters, you know? And
she's part of things.
Yeah. And it gives us like a really tense relationship where the relationship with the couple in this movie isn't perfect. They've strayed from each other a bit. That's just good writing. And like even though we see them as like this perfect couple that take down like stoners in alleys and shit together, and I thought that was a really sweet scene, by the way. It was great to like subvert expectations about what women can do, but it also just really, really, kicked ass, and I got a little bit of a boner watching it.
Yeah. It reminded me of that scene from Watchmen, you know?
Totally. Like, obviously better, though. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously better. Like, if this film was a dude, I'd blow him.
Yeah. Totally. I don't know, man. This just one of those great films, and I have no idea how people can even conceptually watch Pacific Rim and what the fuck, guys? What's wrong with you if you fucking clicked on this video thinking it was about Pacific Rim? Fuck you piece of shit that likes garbage movies.
To be fair, Pacific Rim was all about the flash and the marketing, and they shoved itself in every theater. But no, this movie, with a true artistic vision, came out on limited platforms for the true art connoisseurs.
Yeah.
It came out on Spotify, and it's brought to us by Asylum Pictures. You know, those people who make those brilliant Sharknado films.
Yeah, like Asylum.
Sharknado is the epitome of satire.
Dude, Asylum is like the studio putting out the best films ever.
Yeah.
Like they are really an art house
A24, Pixar, they got nothing on Asylum.
Yeah, they're really an art house studio. They have yet to make a movie with any problems, honestly. Like, I mean, maybe this is just me being way too in love with the movie, but I think this may be the perfect film.
This and Transmorphers goes back and forth for me.
Oof, yeah, that is really hard. Ugh.
They didn't make enough sequels to either of them, but maybe that's because they were like holding out for the integrity of the piece.
Yeah, you don't want it to get drowned down with sequels. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, although I guess Transmorphers is built more for sequels, and this is built more for like an existential beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, because I feel like the monster represents the abyss, and the robots that they just brilliantly, it's streamlined. It's not Jaeger, it's bots. It's such a better name that they clearly thought out more.
And they clearly stare into the abyss and they kick the shit out of it, and that's what we need to do, not let it stare back like in Pacific Rim.
Yeah, exactly. They build fucking these awesome-ass robots specifically to combat the abyss, the unknown. And even though they're designed for space travel, they, like, very intelligently included melee combat weapons. And... Wait, shit, guys. Holy shit, this movie
Did
makes
you
no
not
fucking
even
sense.
Did... I was wondering how long we could keep this shit up.
April Fools, everyone. I mean, if anyone didn't get that, like, the second I said Pacific Rim's a piece of shit compared to Atlantic Rim, you know, you need to learn how to detect sarcasm.
I'll be honest, 10 minutes is way longer than I thought that was going to go.
That was
Really?
fun, though.
I clocked it at 15.
Was it 15? Okay, maybe just my connection.
Yeah. Well, everyone, yeah, we're here doing April Fool's prank on you, but also to honestly review the Asylum picture Atlantic Rim, which I wanted to keep talking until there was just no way to justify anything about it whatsoever, and it's the fact that they built robots before they knew there were giant monsters, and included weapons that would seem only to be effective against giant monsters. That's the point at which I'm like, no, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, this is literally, you know, what are you going to use those weapons for? To fight the giant shark tornadoes?
I mean, why not, right? Ugh.
It's so bad.
Fucking lava... fucking Lavalantula and Sharknado exist in the same universe. You could say that all of the Asylum pictures exist in the same universe.
Oh my god.
You gotta wonder how fucked up their life insurance expectancies are there.
Yeah. Dude, if there was such a thing as an Asylum Shared Universe franchise, oh man, that'd be the best thing ever. Just honestly, I would kill to live in the world where the Asylum pictures are all in a shared universe. So, like, could you imagine if, like, the fucking robot pilot was like, first the Sharknado, now this!
It wouldn't be a hard connection to draw out, either. All of their movies have, like, a really similar aesthetic.
You know what would be, like, really, really funny, though? Is if you cast
have
the same
them fight
guy
the Mega
as
Shark?
the lead in everything. Oh man.
So before we rip this apart, I just have like a fundamental question of what you guys think of the whole concept of a mockbuster, as they call this, like intentionally riffing on whatever's about to come out as a big action movie blockbuster.
See, I just don't understand that, because it seems like it's not riffing on it. It seems like it's just trying to do that and cash in on the success. What I honestly feel like these movies, these Sharknado, or not Sharknado, because that's obviously more satire, but like Transmorphers and Alien vs. Hunter, all that shit, it feels like it's designed to trick a grandmother when she sees it in a like $2 bin at a movie store.
See, that's exactly my thing with it. Is like, the whole concept of a blockbuster, I think, has evolved to the point where, at times, it's making fun of itself. I don't consider the Transformers movies blockbusters. I consider more of them like, here is a blockbuster making fun of what a blockbuster is because it's just so bad and ridiculous. So this concept never appealed to me. But then it makes perfect sense that, like, you explain this movie's premise to someone, they don't understand it, so they pick up something that sounds like it, and thus you have an entire business built on poor vision and arthritis.
Right?
That's brilliant.
I honestly feel like that's what happens. Like, it's you ask your grandma asks you what do you want for your birthday. You tell her, oh, there's this really cool movie where robots fight monsters that come out of the ocean. It's called Pacific Rim. Can you get that for me on DVD? She's like, sure, sweetie. And she goes to the store and she like doesn't want to ask anybody because she's too nice, and just keeps looking around until she finds Atlantic Rim and goes, oh, this must be it. There's a robot and a monster on the thing. Like, I really feel like that's the entire business.
Well, some of the titles are, like, close enough to where, like, if someone legitimately has a problem reading something, they could mistake the words, like Transmorphers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And
then after that, your grandson disowns you for life.
like, that's one of the
And
things, is you could never be angry if your grandmother did something like that, right?
no, it'd be adorable.
You've never met my family. If someone's family makes a mistake, we will be vocal about it, no matter what your age is.
That's hilarious.
I've told you before, Ian, I come from garbage, so.
I love how frank he is about it. I
think anyone could ever be really mistaken by these is the Battle Los Angeles parody is called Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh my god, yeah, I almost did that, though. Like, I legit almost did that once. I wanted to see Battle Los Angeles just in morbid curiosity, mainly for Aaron Eckhart's performance. I wanted to see if he could save the premise of that movie. Spoilers,
Which he doesn't.
Can't. I wanted to see it, so I grab it on the movie stand, and the funny part is, like, you see, we talk about how movies have, like, way too similar covers, where it's like, you could see, like, it's the same basic 3 covers for a lot of movies, and this one doesn't have, even the official release doesn't have, like, a picture of Aaron Eckhart's face or anything to really distinguish him, or that it's a proper A-list movie. It's like a silhouette of a soldier on a hill with Los Angeles in the background, like, being invaded by aliens. And so it's the easiest cover to rip off and, like, totally make people buy that it's the same film. So I, like, almost did it. The only reason I didn't is because the girl that worked behind the counter at the movie rental store told me, oh, wait, this isn't the real Battle Los Angeles.
But she saved you from getting one shitty movie for another.
I mean, I imagine that there's no way that movie could possibly be any worse.
Probably. I haven't seen it. I just know that it's a very easy mistake to make.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just...
There is one Asylum movie you guys need to see. It's a Sherlock Holmes movie. And obviously it was parodying the Guy Ritchie movies. But here's the thing. It's so batshit insane because it focuses on Sherlock Holmes fighting a giant squid, a robot bird, and his brother who's in a steampunk Iron Man suit.
Oh my god, yes.
What's it called?
It's Sherlock Holmes. If you look in, like, the Asylum stuff, you'll see a Sherlock Holmes. I forget there's, like, an underlying title. It's something Monsters, I think.
Guys,
could be wrong, though.
See, I was just curious because Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, so, like, they could have gotten away with just calling it Sherlock Holmes.
Guys, I have the greatest analysis of Asylum right now. So you know that old saying, if you put 1,000 monkeys in a room with 1,000 typewriters, eventually they'll write Shakespeare? I feel like Asylum gets its movie scripts from, like, the stuff that's thrown away from those monkeys.
The legible stuff that is thrown away from those monkeys, yes.
Yeah, like, the monkeys obviously spent a long time just writing gibberish, and then eventually started writing coherent stories that are just really bad, and these are those coherent stories, as they work their way to Shakespeare.
Oh my god. So what you're saying is, every Atlantic Rim is one step closer to the new Shakespeare.
Exactly. My god.
That probably explains the Mega Shark sequels.
Well, it's weird because, like, this isn't too far off from, like, what other studios do with those clone projects, right? Like, the typical example is Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down.
Yep.
Exactly.
One of those is entertaining.
What?
One of those is actually entertaining, though.
One of those stars Aaron Eckhart, and I don't know what it is with tonight picking all of Aaron Eckhart's bad movies, but I guess we're going to pick all of Aaron Eckhart's bad movies tonight.
Okay, I'll admit, I'll watch Olympus Has Fallen over White House Down.
See, I won't. I think White House Down is actually a fun movie that doesn't stereotype people and just, like, makes fun of the type of people that this movie is geared towards. But then Olympus Has Fallen is just a shitty version of that.
I will say this for Olympus Has Fallen. It does treat the situation with a fair amount of gravity. Like, you know, I think it's a pretty shitty movie, but the scene where the White House is
I won't defend that this is a good movie.
What?
I will not defend that this is a good movie.
No, I agree, it's not. But, like, the scene where the White House being fucking invaded is like, holy shit, this is, like, fucking scary. I'll say that much, but regardless of all that, it's just, you have those two movies, and this happens fucking constantly in Hollywood, where one studio will have a movie, and then the other studio will make the exact same premise. And it happens with movies, it happens with television shows. You had Dancing with the Stars, and like a week later, Skating with the Celebrities comes out.
Yeah, Fox is notorious for doing this the most in TV shows. Like Big Brother, they made something, and what else did they make that were shitty parodies of? Like Survivor, right?
Yeah, and like, it goes back and back and back. The oldest example that's kind of the strangest I can think of is, and these weren't intentionally done this way, it just happened. My favorite movie, and then Failsafe, came out within a year of each other. My favorite movie being Dr. Strangelove. And that's just bizarre. Because Dr. Strangelove is a comedy about what if we accidentally started a nuclear war with Russia, and Failsafe is a drama about what if we actually started a nuclear war with Russia by accident. And it's
the sad part is that Dr. Strangelove is slowly turning into a real life drama.
Yeah. I really wish I could see the original cut of the way that movie originally ended. I think the footage has been lost to time, though.
A lot of Kubrick's movies seem to have that, like those last 2 or 3 minute epilogue things that he cut that have never been found again.
Well, you have photos of this, but it ended with a pie fight in the war room. And I really want to see that version of the film.
There's a version of The Shining that's like that, where like you actually see everything after they escape the house.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, like, you know, Failsafe is a damn good movie, I'll say. I think it would be worth doing a serious review of Failsafe and Dr. Strangelove together and see how these two get at the exact same fears, but why Dr. Strangelove is ultimately better at it, because laughing at something like that makes you realize how crazy it is. But regardless of all that, it's just so strange that the studios try to capitalize on the same ideas, and we somehow give them a pass for it, but yet when Asylum comes around and just blatantly does it in a way like that seems like targeted to trick you, I don't know. I find that hilarious.
Well, like, it's just... And see, I mean, I can attribute some of that to happy accidents because, like, it takes time to make a movie. Sometimes some people just think of the same things at the same time. I don't imagine that, like, one studio's like, a movie about the White House collapsing is going to be the greatest thing ever. Let me copy that idea immediately. It just happened at the same time. Whereas something like, say, Batman vs. Superman and Civil War, we're like, well, if DC's doing Batman vs. Superman, then Marvel did very intentionally say, okay, yes, go ahead and greenlight Civil War because we have to make that same movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I give it more of a pass on that because, I mean, making movies is hard, and, like, analyzing what would happen if you put all your money into a Civil War movie or not, versus just Happy Accidents of Failsafe, which is a movie I like a lot, and Doctor Strangelove and all that. That's okay, but then Asylum comes along, and it makes all of these movies that try to be funny and try to, like, be the jokey knockoffs of these bigger movies, but then are designed to trick you in the first place. So, like, the profound disappointment, I think, would for some people outweigh what might be funny, but the movies are never that funny or that clever, so it almost doesn't matter. They make these things on, like, shoestring budgets, and no one seems to care.
That's the thing is, like, if this was actively being a parody, that'd be one thing, but it's not. It's just a bad version of Pacific Rim.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing is, like, Eric and Cap did a thing that I think proves the point of these movies really well, which is when they did Transmorphers, they thought it was going to be hysterically bad, so they recorded a commentary of it really late in the night and started drinking. But the movie was just so boring, they got more and more sober as the movie went on. That's literally what this is. This isn't even, like, so bad it's funny. It's just boring.
Yeah. I don't understand that. It's like, what's the point of these things? You know, like, you could say, oh, they're parodies. No, they're not. They're not funny. Like, you can make parodies and have them be actually entertaining. If you make a version of Pacific Rim and you just make, like, jokes all the time, or you, like, any of the early Adult Swim show writers, if they got a hold of, like, the Asylum Studios, that's what I want. I want Asylum to hire those guys with just really crude, really immature senses of humor, where, you know, the fucking robots decide, hey, I'm gonna teabag the monster. That would actively be entertaining, as silly and immature as it is, you know?
It's kind of funny you bring that up, because when you bring up boring, when the premise, like, you guys ever see that Asylum movie, Dead West 7?
No.
Is that a Magnificent thing?
Wait, let me tell you the premise, and then I will tell you the rest. The premise is that there's a zombie apocalypse, and now everyone's gone out to being Westerns. So 7 people are brought together. Those 7 people are all former 90s pop stars from NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all these other boy bands. And you think, oh, that's fun, right? That's going to be great. That's going to be funny. It was the most boring shit ever.
So, like, they actively hired actors that, like, they actually hired people from the 90s to act in the movie?
Yeah, all 90s boy bands.
Why would you go to that much trouble if it's just that bad?
There isn't, like, a dance break scene. There isn't anything.
And, like, that's just the wrong premise for that kind of group, right? It should be a very different movie that they're parodying. They should parody, like, that'd be a really great thing to do, like, something similar to This Is Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah, but with zombies.
Or whatever, but, like, Old West zombies? No, that doesn't fit at all. It's such a poorly made decision that entirely seems like it's more meant to trick people than it is to function as an actual movie. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And, like, you know, these are one of those things I'm glad I didn't pay for.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of those things I'm, like, so glad I did not pay for this garbage.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll agree with you, Ian, that the problem is that it's not that they're trying to be bad, it's they're trying to be intentionally bad, and they're trying to make it look like it's funny, and it just comes off ridiculous. Like, all of the first Sharknado, yeah, that's kind of funny because it's trying to play serious. The sequels continue to try to do the same thing, and it gets repetitively boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, like, I don't know, like, you know, maybe it's just because I was talking early Adult Swim with someone at work today, but I remember laughing so hard as a 13-year-old that I cried watching early Adult Swim garbage. I remember being, like, 12 years old and watching Space Ghost Coast to Coast and thinking it was the funniest thing ever. I promise it's not.
Oh, I think I was in there with you. I can't even remember the show on Adult Swim, but it had these 2 guys, like, it was supposed to be like a parody of a buddy cop show, and one episode is they discover that Ron Howard is secretly mind-controlling people.
Yeah, like, I just feel like that's a much better tone. If you want to write parody, it's like, just get some of those fucking writers that know how to do really goofy, shitty parody or shitty comedy, and have them do it, because that's just so much more entertaining in and of itself. Like, it's like they're making something knowing that it's going to be bad, but deciding for the integrity of the piece they still have to play it straight. And I don't understand why you have to do that. So you get stuff like this. And again, if you try to analyze, like, we're more talking around this movie than we're talking about this movie itself. But, like, again,
because bottom line, shit.
Well, like, seriously, Pacific Rim, they kill the first monster with standard military force, and the second one too, and then they decide, okay, this isn't gonna fucking work, we're gonna build giant mechs. Cool. Whatever. It's still silly as shit, but fine. Okay? The second movie, or in this movie, they just fucking have giant mechs laying around, built by NASA, and in the third act it's like, oh yeah, you have melee weapons. Why? Why did NASA feel the need to put melee weapons in their giant robots? There's no thought behind it. It is literally the dumbest thing ever.
And I mean, it's not even a matter of, like, the dumbness is called out within it to be part of something smarter. It's not like these people made a shitty movie and were aware they were making a shitty movie and had fun with it. It's just, let's write really shitty movies and get them out as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. There's not even, an attempt for any of this to be in any way charming or different or even remotely play up its own absurdity. Like in Pacific Rim, for example, you have that scene towards the end where the Major gives his speech, and it's a fucking amazing speech, but it also sets the tone for that whole movie when he says, we're canceling the apocalypse. Like, it's just a ridiculous premise delivered with entire seriousness and conviction, and that's half the fun of that movie. This doesn't have any of that. Like, this movie doesn't have even a hint of itself within itself, and I don't understand why you would make it.
Like, and then there's just shit like, that's so fucking typical and adds nothing but just wastes time. Like, I could enjoy this if it was just all giant robots fighting monsters and shitty CG animation. Fine. That'd be fine. Whatever. But so often it's like shots of a shitty-ass set that's the control room or cockpits, and then, like, cuts back to the fucking military operation. And there's fucko with an eye patch who's like, I really want to nuke Manhattan. Just let me fucking nuke Manhattan. It's so absurd. I don't know how you could have fun with this. Like, you have Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they do those fucking, like, riffs on things. And this isn't something you can riff. It's just so bland.
Well, you could,
and
that's what they said about Manos, and that's what they said about Manos, The Hands of Fate, and yet they did that.
Well, like, I think the big difference between, like, anything that was on MST3K and anything that Asylum makes is the jokes are usually centered on how dumb the piece is, or constant questions, like constantly picking out plot holes, or, like, constantly picking out character flaws and shit, or it's the opposite, where, like, the movie is so preposterous you could almost abridge it and ad-lib dialogue, and so that's fun. The difference here is there's no, like, overreaction or underreaction to anything. Everyone plays it really straight and bland. There's lots of plot holes, but they're not, like, consecutive plot holes or anything. Everything about the movie is so abundantly average to below average that making fun of it just feels kind of pointless. Like, it feels like you're just kicking a dead horse.
Yeah. And that's
like, I don't think I get anything out of making fun of this movie. I don't know. maybe this is a poor example, but like it's making fun of the kid at school that everyone already makes fun of.
Yeah. It's punching below, right?
Yeah, like it's just sad. Like, why would you do that?
And like it's funny because Rasco and I were talking about the concept of like the clone picture, and he goes, yeah, like Atlantic Rim. I'm like, that can't be fucking real. How can they
Surprise!
Yeah, how can they just so blatantly steal something like that? How? And then, like, the thing that really is the gear twister, it's not even really called Atlantic Rim, that's just what it says on the poster.
I forget, what's it really called?
Beneath the Sea.
Oh,
Attack
fuck that
from Beneath,
noise.
something like that.
Oh, what the fuck ever, yeah.
Well,
called
all of
Fuck
these
Off.
movies have multiple titles, so...
Yeah. What, is that like a legal cover? So that they make the final cut of the movie before they know whether or not they can legally get away with the fucking name?
Maybe. The version I saw said Attack from Beneath, but, like, I'm pretty sure if you go to Wikipedia, it'll say, like, From the Sea, or, like, Atlantic Rim, or something, or, like, Attack from the Atlantic, or something, like, combination.
Yeah, it's just... Why? That you... Pacific Rim refers to a very specific part of the Pacific Ocean. There's no Atlantic Rim!
You're asking for these people's version of logic? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Well, like, that title at least made sense, right? But this is just bullshit.
Oh my god, that's true. Can we talk about how none of the monsters or robots look good? Like, they're all just the most bare-bones, annoying designs possible.
Yeah,
One of them looked like Optimus Prime, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit. And, like...
There was no thought put into it whatsoever.
Well, like, it's funny, the motherfucker just... Okay, so he kills the giant monster in the city in the first act. And then the next time we see him, he's just running around on the streets, and it's like, wait, so you just, like, fucking abandoned this multi-million-dollar governmental project to just fucking run around on the streets? Serious, bro? And then there's, like, other ridiculous things, like when the one guy goes into the burning building to save a child, and he has to convince her that he's a superhero so she'll come with him. That kid is way too damn old for that. That girl is at least 12. At least 12. And he's sitting here like, I'm a superhero. What fucking 12-year-old do you have to convince to come out of a burning building?
Oh my god, it's just so bad and contrived. And I mean, I wish they didn't do the whole thing where, like, they're trying to rush the DVD of this out as soon as these movies are in theaters, because you could inherently make these just a bit more fun if, like, these people actually saw Pacific Rim and then intentionally rewrote that story.
Yeah. Or at least, like, I mean, with Pacific Rim, it's a bit of a special case where that script leaked like crazy.
Yeah.
I remember listening to Bill and the SOS review of Pacific Rim, and what is it, Gorazard on that show? I do not understand this mentality, but that motherfucker, like, goes online and finds leaked scripts for films and reads them before he sees the film. And so he's sitting there in their review, he's like, oh, well, the three-armed robot was actually, you know, a bigger part of the movie in earlier drafts of the script. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? But regardless, like, that just proves that the script was out there. They could have done it.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't, but they don't even try that much.
Yeah, like, you know, you could convince me, okay, they are parodies, if you didn't, like, have the fact that they're clearly just rushing to get out the general premise so that they can trick people.
This is interesting. I'm just on the wiki really quick because I wonder if there's anything interesting production-wise. There's only one paragraph with only like 3 sentences. But apparently Atlantic Rim was originally planned to be shot at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. But Asylum was denied permission to film on the base after high-ranking officials read the script.
Sounds about right.
They disagreed with the portrayal of soldiers.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean,
I could buy that.
it's funnier if I cut off the sentence, but okay.
Oh, was there more? Or?
No. I'm just saying, like when I cut it off the sentence at after they read the script, that's a much better joke to make than they disagreed with the portrayal of soldiers.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, man. This shit's just so. I don't get this. I know that there are people who watch these things and laugh their asses off at them, and I'm like, I've seen worse movies that are just more fun to watch. I'm spoiled by worse movies. This is just such a blah experience.
I mean,
seriously, I could go watch Space Mutiny and get more fun out of it.
This is like, what, 75, 80-minute movie? It's not very long, and I got bored so many times. I could barely get through it.
I almost fell asleep.
It's not fun.
There's actually kind of a bit of, going back to Asylum. You know, you've seen the Mega Shark movie, right? Like Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, and they went on from there?
No.
Yeah.
There was one called Mega Shark versus Colossus. And if you watch that movie, the robot looks suspiciously like a giant man from a certain anime called Attack on Titan. Reason being, and I shit you not, is because they actually wanted the Mega Shark to fight the Colossal Titan, but they couldn't get the rights. Big shocker.
That's actually kind of funny.
But, like, it's one of those things, it seems like it's funnier to describe that these movies exist than it does to watch them.
I mean, and it's part of this review, right? Like, just talking about any specific detail of this movie is boring, but everything else is more interesting.
Yeah. You know those, like, it's become easier to publish things now that you don't have to actually print books, right? So you can go on Amazon and find, like, these fucking ridiculous-ass premises for, like, shitty romance novels.
You mean like Taken by a Griffin or something like some kind of shit like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. Like, hold on, here, Steve, you're on the Googles. Can you Google Amazon, Amazon Kindle romance novels? Like
Amazon Kindle romance novels.
Silly, maybe add in there somewhere.
Okay, let's see what we got.
I'm sure you'll find some fantastic.
Utterly Sluttery, a funny romantic romance novel.
I'm in just by I don't care if it's shit. The title's got me alone.
Yeah.
She's Gotta Be Mine. Ridiculous. Spelled wrong. Ridiculous spelled with a E. I don't what the fuck. Her Perfect Revenge, a laugh-out-loud romantic comedy. Luck of the Draw, a betting on romance novel, book 1.
I'm trying to find more of the, like, O-L-U-S.
Go to Amazon. They have some really, like, really strange novels.
Mm-hmm. You see, it's hard to find, like, I remember I found, like, a list of it one day, of just all these shitty romance novels, that, like, were entirely just, well, they can be published, so it's like...
Here's one called Smart Bitches Trashy Books.
Yeah, like,
I found one, and it was totally by accident. I went down the rabbit hole too far, and I found this book, and I quote, "Happy birthday, Frankenstein, now pound my butthole."
Yeah. Okay, like, here's one. Okay, The Werewolf Tycoon's Baby. It's about a business tycoon who's also a werewolf and gets a woman pregnant.
Sounds like an episode of Angel in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, I could see that Buffy.
And there's just a lot of shit like that where you can just make it now because it requires no money. You can sit down there and just almost auto-generate a romance novel and just add vampire into the title or whatever. In every couple words, just add the word vampire.
And these titles are still more creative than this entire movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just the titles.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 words.
Let's try zombie. Romance adventure zombies.
Is that a thing? Are you making that up?
No, there's a title called Julie Razor Romance Adventure Zombies. Julie Razor Zombie War Book Series, Book 1.
Oh, it's book 1. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And like there are more ridiculous titles, but I just don't have the time to find the list right now, and that would.
I honestly want to read one of these and see if the people actually know how to write.
I would
they
not
give you
be
a free
surprised,
preview?
Steve, if it's just like an entire romance novel copy and pasted, and they just go in and change some of the words around.
Probably. There's been lots of papers being written recently about plagiarism and self-publishing, particularly through Amazon, so...
Yeah. But just like, you can do that now. You just mass produce shit, and if you make $1 off of it, you've made $1. There's like so little cost that it's actually really easy to make profit on just complete crap. And somehow that's a thing with these movies. And I don't understand it. Like, just the...
I mean... You have to think, like, as stupid as these are, they have, like, $500,000 budgets. This studio's been around a while. They are doing relatively well.
Yeah, now they got bold enough to do a TV series.
It almost feels like people that follow these movies do so because they get that they are ironic, but they still don't understand what humor is. So like they're just turned on to the fact that these are in fact ironic movies.
And I mean, it helps that they did Sharknado, because as bad as most of their stuff is, Sharknado was a really big release.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the audience that buys these movies, like understanding what they are, is more just loyal to it because they're like, oh yeah, I like these bad movies. I think they're funny that they intentionally make bad movies, no matter the fact that these are not worth your time, even though they are bad.
There's very little, if anything, of value in watching any of these.
Yeah, and
I mean, they ruin legitimately interesting premises. They've got a movie coming out called Mega Shark vs. Moby Dick. And that sounds amazing, but it won't be.
Yeah. Again, I just wish we could get, really crude comedy writers on these things. And that would just be inherently more entertaining. If they just realized, we're making really bad movies, so the script doesn't have to be bland, boring, generic. We can make it, we can try to make it funny.
Well, and you picked a really good initial starting place with old Adult Swim writers, because part of what they did back in the day is they took old stock Hanna-Barbera animation and just invented a bridging.
Yep. Exactly.
You can translate that perfectly to this.
I have a random question. This is not related to this thing at all, but who gives a fuck?
Who's watching this movie anyway? Who's here for the actual review of this movie? Come on now.
Yeah. What the fuck happened to American animation in the 70s? Just all of it across the board is awful.
There was a time where saving money and Hanna-Barbera went hand in hand and nothing got done.
Well, it's not just Hanna-Barbera. They're the most obvious, but what the... Even fucking Disney was garbage in the 70s.
Yep.
I don't understand what the hell happened.
There was recycled animation in the 70s with Disney. You go back and watch Aristocrats and then Robin Hood, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
Same fucking
Robin Hood and Jungle Book have like direct pulls and all this shit. And it's just like, why? Why did the animation get to be such garbage in the 70s, just across the board from everything? Is there any good American animated movie from the 70s?
I was about to say Cool World, but then I remembered, oh yeah, that's from the 80s.
I'm trying to see if there's anything online about why.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious, because that 70s was Star Trek, the animated series, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. That was when they started doing all those Marvel animated shows that were just like motion comics, but suckier.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just weird that everything was garbage in the 70s for animation. It's weird,
because the 70s is like the best decade for movies.
Yeah, sure.
There are more good movies in the 70s than any other decade.
Fair enough. It's just weird. Like, what the fuck happened? Was there, like, some kind of animation Dark Ages that, like, no one wanted to talk about?
Okay, so a quick Google search reveals that there is actually... the 70s is actually known as the Dark Age of animation.
Really?
Yeah. Fritz Lang has a whole thing about why the 70s suck. Apparently the 70s nearly killed cartoons.
Interesting. I gotta look into this then. That's worth my time, but...
there is articles and articles and articles about this.
Interesting. Okay. That's something for another time then. Just random thing I've been picking up on. Like, wow. There's just garbage from the 70s. Anyway. Back to this piece of shit. Is there anything... we need to fill, like, at least 10 more minutes. Son of a bitch.
Oh, really?
Can we talk about how all of these actors are so bland they clearly don't want to be here? And I know, like, Asylum uses, like, the same people repeatedly for these movies, so they must be worn out by now. Like, they just might... I don't imagine doing any of these movies more than once and being in any way happy with myself.
Yeah, like, I wonder about this. I was talking to Lo about this. I'm like, why would any actor who's trying to make a name for themselves do something like this? It just, you were in that shitty ripoff movie. Why would you want that on your resume?
I have no idea. I have literally no idea. I don't understand how anyone could be attached to this and, like, survive to have any sort of legitimate career.
Yeah, and so, like, maybe the actors that appear in multiple movies are just like, yeah, now I'm a joke and I can't get anything else, so I have to just stick with this.
Yeah, not even CW wants them. Not even CW wants these people.
Wow, okay. So this is really interesting. The main admiral guy in this movie, the old dude, he's Graham Greene. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Dances with Wolves.
Oh, yeah,
what?
I think I remember what role he played, too.
But, like, how fucking far has this dude fallen?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, Casper Van Dien was in one of these movies, and then you think, man, you were in Starship Troopers. I mean, that wasn't much, but it was a blockbuster in some accounts, and Jesus Christ, you fell into Mega Shark versus Whale Wolf. No, Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. That's even worse.
I'm trying to see if, like, any of these actors, aside from him, have, like, decent history, and a lot of them don't. One of them's going to be in the new Baywatch, which I assume makes sense at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of these are just cameos from people that don't have anything better to do.
Well, it's funny to look back at Sharknado 2, because Pedophile cameoed in that shit.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You didn't know Jared from Subway was in Sharknado 2?
I haven't watched Sharknado 2 in years, so it was totally logged from my mind.
Yeah. There was a big ad campaign that Jared from Subway was going to be in Sharknado 2, and that was like literally, I think, weeks before the story broke about him.
Sharknado has been really big with cameos all over the place, and a lot of them backfire on him.
Like, there's a reason that these people aren't working anymore, right?
Yeah, there's gotta be. Well, okay, apparently this guy, Graham Greene, was also in the Twilight movie, so, like, he fell down a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad that these actors can't get work, because, like, yeah, the guy that plays the Admiral, he plays it straight. You know, if he was in a better movie, I almost feel like you could edit, just, like, you know, rotoscope him out and put him in a better film.
That's probably fair. As far as fake military police go, he's one of the better ones.
Yeah, you know, just, I don't know, like, that scene where he goes, you know, you want to know the secret to shooting a man? Never hesitate. Like, that was pretty good delivery. I'm sorry you did it in such a shitty movie.
Yeah. Wasn't Donald...
Yeah.
I think Danny Glover was in one of these movies.
Holy
Really?
fuck.
Yeah, he was in a movie about Moby Dick, but instead of a whale, it was a dragon he was hunting.
That dude does not need the money. Why would you keep doing this to yourself?
I don't know. Is he punishing himself? That's my only assumption.
Maybe.
What's funny is because he's been in movies that, like, he actually, like, either you watch his movie Mystery Team? Take that as a no. I thought that was a pretty fucking funny movie. Like, there's a scene where, you know, these are, like, grown-ass men that are acting like children who have a detective agency, and then they get, like, an actual case. And there's a scene where they have to follow some guy into a strip club, but it's called a gentleman's club. And so they, like, get dressed in tuxedos and, like, top hats. And they
That's
have, like,
fucking awesome.
they have, like, a fucking monocle. It's like, hello, sir, we are here to enter this gentleman's club. Like, that was a fucking funny-ass scene to me.
What is that called?
Mystery Team.
Mystery Team. I might check that out. But no, that dude's still in movies.
Yeah, I don't know why he would do something like this.
And he's not even, like, an exclusively shitty movie. He's like Dirty Grandpa or anything like that. Well, because he's in it. But, like, he makes, like, fun movies with actors his age and shit now.
Yeah, and he's like, what's that series, Atlanta, that he's in?
Oh, yeah, no, that's the other Glover.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's Donald Glover.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about Donald. Okay. Yeah. Danny Glover would be... Okay, I feel...
Yeah, Danny Glover, Donald Glover. I get it confused sometimes, too.
Yeah. No, Donald Glover did Mystery Team. Danny Glover did not.
Okay, I love Donald Glover. I might check that out, then.
Yeah. That's my bad.
See, in my head, I was just picturing Danny Glover, like, old Lethal Weapon 2 style, trying to go into a gentleman's club. And
That
That
would
would
be
be funny,
funnier.
too. That would be funny, too. Either way, I am cool with this.
I want
Yeah,
Danny Glover to remake
You
this.
have not made a mistake. If anything, you've made the movie better.
Yeah, if anything. Maybe, like, someone just quit watching as soon as I described that. They're like, oh my god, I have to find this movie. Then they started watching Mystery Team, and they're like, where the fuck's Danny Glover at? And they came back to this, and they heard that, and like, holy shit, he just described my life.
Oh, and Aubrey
man.
Plaza's in this, too. That's fun.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, I'm done fucking talking about this movie. It's
I didn't
garbage.
even realize we're still talking about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
garbage. Fuck this movie. Asylum, quit making movies like this, and just, you know, hire comedy writers. And if you're making parodies and not just trying to trick people, then hire comedy writers.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Try. Just a little.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like you would have to pay people. Like, again, it doesn't have to be the exact writers from Adult Swim, but just that kind of writing cannot be that hard to do.
See, and I mean, I don't want to belittle anyone from, like, I don't want to belittle, like, Little Crebo or TFS or anything like that, but, like, I bet you that if you just asked one of them to help you write one of these movies, they would be infinitely better.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree with that, Steve.
Like, I want to see Dragon Ball Z abridged level stuff in this. It's possible. You don't need much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm game for this. Okay.
Well, now I'm waiting for their Kong parody where they go, I'm about to unleash my giant monkey. Boom. Thank God, I thought he meant his penis.
My favorite scene from DBZ Abridged is still Goku and Vegeta fighting. Vegeta getting, like, fucking kicked into a mountain. And Goku being like, you okay in there? Yeah, it's just ice cream and gumdrops in here. Really? Can I come in? I'm surrounded by idiots. I thought you said you were surrounded by gumdrops and ice cream.
Oh, that's it. Everyone dies.
Oh my god, I love Dragon Ball Z Abridged so much.
Oh, it's really good.
I can't watch
finally
the
ahead
movies.
of DBZ Abridged. I'm finally to where Teen Gohan fucking murders the shit out of Cell Juniors.
Oh, nice. You were just barely passing where Abridged is right now because Hercule just got his ass kicked in the Cell games.
Yeah, totally. I love that they just fucking cut out that entire section of Hercule's buddies.
Oh, thank God. I was so happy.
I don't know. Part of me really wanted to see what they do with it.
Well, they come back later in Z and Super, and that's the issue, where, like, they're gonna have to give them new characters eventually, or cut that out, too.
I'm sure it's not that important.
No, but, like, they're there, so I wonder if they're gonna do anything with them.
Yeah. Well, like, it's weird, because I don't know how they're going to do the rest of the news announcer if he's going to be in it at all, because all of his shots have Hercule in them. Or Mr. Satan. I don't care, really, people. I really don't care.
You care about as much as that kind of dubbing as you do this movie.
Yes, exactly. I care about dub issues to the extent that I care about this movie. Yes, it's annoying that they call Tao General Tao as opposed to Mercenary Tao and act like he led the Red Ribbon Army. That's stupid. You know what? You can skip that episode. It's not important. Anyway. So what are we going to give Atlantic Rim? What's our rating for Atlantic Rim going to be?
I give Atlantic Rim 0 out of 5 weird Optimus Prime clones.
I give Atlantic Rim 0 out of 5 bullshit melee weapon upgrades.
Before I give my rating, I just want to say a lot of people compare this movie to Ben-Hur. They say, man, Ben-Hur was such a great movie, and this movie's such a crock of shit. So I'm gonna give my 0 CGI bland monsters out of 5.
Yeah. Agreed.
This is one of those few movies where everyone I talk to seems to have, like, pretty much the same opinion. I'm happy about that.
This is the grand unifying movie.
This is the grand right. This.
Okay. Anyway, Steve, since
I
stole your topic to make.
I thought.
Deadpoolzilla, shut up. Steve, since I stole
sorry,
your topic...
I'm echoing.
Well, fucking shut up! Since I stole your topic to make us talk about this, where are we going to be discussing next time?
Let me think, because I was getting ready for a review topic, but we just did a review, so, can we talk about comic book journalism?
Like journalism in comic book universes, like Clark Kent and Lois Lane, or journalism?
See, that'd be interesting. I was going more along the lines of like comic book news sites, because Comics Alliance has just announced that they were shutting down, and I think there's something interesting to be said about like how comic companies will use certain news outlets as nothing but good PR. How certain sites like comicbook.com are just utter shit, but then we have the other ones that are like more critical and more interesting and like have legitimate things to say, and how news in comic books operates differently than other news sites, because these people don't actively go out and investigate. They just wait for Marvel and DC to tell them things.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird and interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's fine too. I also think the alternative of talking about Lois Lane's journalistic ethics is...
See, that's
really
good too. I mean, I'm fine with either one, because I just realized that thing has two meanings, but that was what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I could honestly make a defense for you could do a Daily Bugle comic and make it work if we were going the other route.
Yeah, I just remember taking a journalism course in college, and someone made a joke when we had like a speaker that was an actual newspaper journalist come in and said, and like we were doing Q&A with them, and they go, "What do you think of Lois Lane's journalistic ethics?" And she goes, "Oh, she just gets way too involved in her stories and like lies to people about who she is, which is not okay ethically speaking."
That's fun.
She quotes people off the record on the record. There's no way that's okay. Same as Superman, he gets way too involved in his stories.
Well, Clark Kent is just a whole weird ethical quagmire since he is Superman.
Right. That is a really fucked up journalistic ethics breach, isn't it?
It's
Writing
weird
about
as hell.
yourself. Oh, that's like a
Well, and I
journalist-
mean, I remember in Superman Earth 1, the back of that book is like J. Michael Straczynski writing Clark Kent's interview with Superman, and that is just a weird, fucked up thing to think about when you hear what Superman is telling himself about himself.
Yeah, it's weird. That book slightly doesn't hold up for me the more I've thought about it.
I still like it a lot, but I haven't read it in like a year or so. Ever since we did that show, I haven't read it.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode. We'll decide what we're going to come back with, whether we're going to come back with journalism in comics or journalism on comics. So, yeah.
Why not both? No.
Why
okay.
not both? We could
I mean,
do
you'd have to do two separate shows. I don't think you could do like both of them in one.
Maybe, I don't know. We could talk about one for half an hour and the other for half an hour.
Maybe. That could work. I don't know. Let's see.
We'll tune in next week to find out. Until next time, I'm the philosopher.
I'm the exile.
I am the Don Juan of Comic-Con.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.